And good morning. Okay, here we go. Here's a new study that came out. So I got 8. I don't know if I'm going to get to 8 this morning. I'm just going to talk to you about a few of them at least. We'll see how it goes. Okay, but like I was saying, I don't know if this is National Study Week because, like I said, I've been flagging these new studies and I just want to bring them to you because they're interesting. This is one, okay, fructoholism in young children. Fructoholism. That's a new disorder, right? And you guys would know I've been talking about high fructose corn syrup for a long time, okay? So I have a chapter in my new book called I didn't put a title on it yet, I don't think. What the food industry has done. They changed our bread, they changed our breakfast, they changed our sugar. And one of the things they did is they made a new sugar in the lab called high fructose corn syrup. I've talked to you about this ad nauseum. Guys, listen, this is a dangerous, dangerous sugar. I don't know how to express it any more than that. This is a dangerous sugar. Your body was never meant to have this sugar because your body doesn't really know what it is. You know, it's like when people used to eat margarine and they substituted margarine, you remember that, for butter? And I used to tell people, I said, well, your body don't know what that is. Your body knows what butter is, but your body doesn't know what margarine is, okay? And, it's good for you because, you know, that whole thing about cholesterol. But sugar changed in the 1970s because the food industry discovered a sugar they could make very inexpensive and highly addictive. And you guys know me, so I'm just going to say this again. Let's say you and I, you know, last week I watched did you watch that? The space shuttle? I always find, I said to Rosie as we were watching it, I said, I'd love to go down to Cape Canaveral there and watch that. I mean, I really would, right? It's fun watching it on TV. You know, when they take off and then they tell you how fast they're going. Like, it's incredible, right? Like, I think they were getting up to 17,000 miles an hour or whatever. And then they were going to dock with the International Space Station up there, and they were going to meet, and they did meet. And one was traveling at 17,000 miles an hour, and the other was traveling 17,000 miles an hour, and they got to land that thing. Incredible. Anyway, let's say you and I left this planet. We took off for the International Space Station in the 1970s, okay? And we come back today in 2020. We would be shocked. The biggest thing that we would see, okay? The biggest thing that you and I would see from the 70s to 2020, okay? 50 years. Okay? You know what we'd see? How big people are. Right? Comparatively. Like, you watch the movies in the 1950s or even in the 60s and people are this big around. True or false? It's true. I mean, not that there wasn't any big people, but there was very few. Okay? So, what happened? What happened? Why is, like we're talking about fructoholism, an actual word. In the 1970s, they changed the sugar. And from ketchup to relish to salad dressings to flavored yogurt and to peanut butter. Okay? I have the natural peanut butter with no sugar added. And if you just read the label, all you're seeing is icing sugar, right? And even in peanut butter, and you know me, that's vitamin P. I love peanut butter. But the problem is what they do to it. What they did to ketchup. What they did to cereals. What they did to soda. Even soda changed. Right? Like Pepsi in the 1960s or 70s had a lot of sugar. But what they did in the 1970s, they changed the sugar. And the reason that you and I see an enormous change in the size of people is because of the change in sugar. It's the high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, it sounds healthy. It's the farthest thing from being healthy. And the reason is because it don't get metabolized the way sugar does. Now, look, you know me and sugar. Okay, you got to be very careful. But no kid, okay, is going to have trouble if they live on fruit even. They're not going to get obese on fruit. Okay? Now, fruit has changed. I read a study. I wasn't even going to talk about it, but I read a study last week that they're not giving the fruit to the monkeys and animals in the zoos because they're too sweet now. I don't know if that's genetic modification or whatever, okay? All I know is my experience. I tell adults not to live on fruit. I call them God's candies, but kids can have. Like, you know what? Kids have a banana. Better to have a banana than to have cereal. Okay? And all I'm saying is that, you know, the proof's in the pudding. Because here's what they said just in the last 20 years. Never mind the last 50 years. Like I said, if you and I left the planet, we come back, we would be shocked. I don't know if they're ever going to open up the malls again. I don't know. This COVID thing. Anyway, the mall has been closed for 10, 12 weeks in our hometown, the malls. Okay, they're closed. Anyway, but if you went and sat in the food court, look at the size of people. When I was younger, I never, ever, ever saw a woman, maybe I did, but I don't remember, with a sugar belly. Our kids, rarely with a sugar belly. Right? I mean, in men, we used to call them beer bellies. But they're sugar bellies. But they're high fructose corn syrup bellies is what they are. They're not ordinary sugar. Not that I'm encouraging that, by the way. But when the sugar changed, we now have a new condition in children called fructoholism. Because what happens to high fructose corn syrup, I'm just going to remind you, it doesn't get metabolized. Like if you have a little bit of sugar, okay? Ordinary sugar, like maple syrup or whatever, okay? Or honey. They're very sweet, but they get metabolized in your gut. High fructose corn syrup does not pass go in Monopoly. It goes past your gut, immediately gets metabolized in your liver. That's the problem with it. You see, your liver it's going to be stored as glycogen immediately. The problem with that is you're going to develop visceral fat in the liver, visceral organ fat. The liver is a suitcase. Even in children, it's a suitcase. It's the Costco parking lot. Okay? Always full. But look, when you have high fructose corn syrup, it doesn't go to your cells. It doesn't go to your cells. So even in bread, read your labels, guys. Any kind of sugar today, you know what they use? They use high fructose corn syrup for a couple of reasons. One, it's very inexpensive. They make it in a lab. It's industrialized. It goes directly to your liver. Guys, I am so big on the liver because I was saying was it yesterday? I was saying, just give me two numbers. I can tell you almost invariably, when I do blood work, when you look at blood work, I like to look at about 13 or 14 numbers. I do. Okay? But what I'm most interested in is two numbers. I want to know your triglycerides and I want to know your HDL because it tells me everything I need to know about your liver. It tells me everything I need to know whether you have metabolic syndrome or not. It tells me everything I need to know about what your insulin is doing. It tells me everything I need to know about what your diet is. It's so simple. Because if I see your triglycerides are made. Three fat balls, but they're not made from fat. They're made from high fructose corn syrup. That's why triglycerides are so important because it tells you triglycerides are only sent into the bloodstream when your liver is full. When your liver is full, you see that fat up there? You see it? That's 5 pounds of fat. If that gets into your liver must send it, okay? Because the liver stores it. It's a suitcase. When the suitcase is full, it sends it in to the bloodstream as triglycerides. Nobody talks about that. Very few. It bothers me. It bothers me. So when these kids go to school, maybe they will again. Again, guys, I can't help myself. Every time I say something about what the world is like, normal things, it's not normal anymore. I don't know if it's ever going to be normal again. Will they go back to school? In our hometown, we have a university here, and apparently most of it's going to be online next year. Kids, that's going to kill our economy here. I mean, we got a big university town here in Sudbury. We have Laurentian, and we have Cambrian College and Boreal, a French college here. Huge. Thousands of students come. But anyway, I'm not supposed to be talking about that, okay? But all I'm saying, guys, is when, the kids go to school and they have snacks. Oh, Dr. Martin, I sent them with a granola bar. Ooh. It's got high fructose corn syrup. It's going directly to their liver. And we have a new condition because the consumption of high fructose corn syrup, just in the last 20 years, is up 300%, according to this study. Guys, let me tell you something. I'm not a prophet, nor the son of a prophet, but let me make a prophecy. If we don't turn this ship around, we are going to absolutely, guys, I don't know if we're going to recover right now, even from COVID with the economy. I'm a little bit pessimistic. Okay? We closed down for too long. That's me. Okay? We're all entitled to our opinion. That's what I think. I think, I used to be in the restaurant business. Never get a doctor into a restaurant business. They lose their shirts. Anyway. I feel sorry for people who have a small business. Anyways, guys, our future is, I'm not so worried about COVID. I'm worried about the things that make us sick. And it's not so much a virus that I'm worried about. It is sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and it is at the root of heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, autoimmune, and even viruses, because if you have a healthy immune system, and you have a healthy immune system if you stop eating high fructose corn syrup. They disguise it. The food industry are liars, pants on fires, and they disguise that sugar. Oh, Dr. Martin, fructose must be good. Nah. And you know what? One of the biggest things, and people don't realize this, one of the biggest tragedies in all of this is drinking it. Forget eating it's no good. But when you drink it, it's like on steroids, man, this sugar. So when you see those little kids, they're going to school and they got a little juice box, I say, oh. And there's snacks. And you parents, and when you don't even realize it, it's in your crackers. It's in your salad dressings, almost all of them. It's in your yogurt, ladies. Yogurt. You know what I am with chicken and salad? I'm like that with yogurt in the morning, because it's the #1 selling breakfast for women. Yogurt. Don't Dr. Martin, yogurt. Ooh. I don't like it. I don't. It's overrated. Guys, the crisis that's coming, we're already hit it. I think in our province, unless I'm mistaken, I think our province here in Ontario, our budget, I can't even think of what our budget's going to be like going forward. Unbelievable. But you know where we spend most of our money? On 2 things. Health and education. And not health, disease care. Because instead of demanding a change in the sugar, demanding it, just like what they did in all across North America, just about. What did they do 20, 30 years ago? They changed all the laws. You can't smoke in a public place. In Sudbury, you're not even supposed to smoke outside in a park if there's people around you. Right? They changed the laws. You can't go into a restaurant today. You can't get on a plane. I remember getting on the plane in the 70s. People smoking the plane. We kind of think it's funny now, because who would smoke in a plane, right? But you know what it, I mean, you have to be my age to understand that. Like, I grew up in a home, my parents smoked. There was a cloud over. I used to go into my dad's office. My dad would smoke with his patients. But they changed the laws. You can't do that anymore. But you know what? I'm not optimistic they're going to change the laws for food companies. You cannot use high fructose corn syrup because they have lobbyists in the government, and they lobby and they lobby and they lobby, and they keep politicians, they keep them 100% in their pockets. So I'm not optimistic. This is why I speak to you, so that you make the change in your own life. And I know you have, and I give you a high five. You are superstars because you know these things more than the world knows them. You know? And you guys make changes. And then to the extent that you can, you know, you can bring a horse to water. You can't always make him drink it. But the extent that you can, you know, you change, you get your family even to buy into this. Because guys, I'm telling you, society doesn't even think about this. They don't even look at the future. All they can think of is we don't have enough money for our health care. We need more doctors. We need more hospitals. We need more this. We need more masks. We need more blah, blah, blah. But guys, that's not the answer. The answer is what you have in your mouth every day. It's food. And the food system got corrupted. It's been corrupted. It started in the 1970s and it's up over 300%. And when high fructose corn syrup turns to fat in the liver and the liver is full, one thing it does, it sends the fat into your bloodstream as triglycerides. Wow, that's dangerous for heart disease. That's why we're not winning the war on heart disease. We're not winning the war on heart disease. We're not winning the war on cancer. Cancer needs fuel. We're not winning the war on those things. Oh, Dr. Martin, you know, I give to the Canadian Cancer Society every year. Well, good for you. I don't care if you give your money to them. I'm telling you, we haven't made, unless we stop smoking, we haven't made a dent in cancer. Breast cancer, ladies, breast cancer used to be 1 out of 20 before they started this sugar. It's 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6. Women in Canada will get breast cancer. 1 out of 4 men will get prostate cancer. And prostate cancer and breast cancer are identical. They need 2 hormones, insulin and estrogen. But guys, high fructose corn syrup, you know, I was going to get to the other 7 studies. I don't think I'm going to do. I'm only going to do this one today because I get excited. I get crazy. Because you're not hearing this as much as you should. What are they saying by 2030? Guys, we're at 2020 already. 2030. It's going to be the tipping point. Trillions and trillions of dollars to try and treat. Oh, I didn't finish the thought. 1, when the liver is full, 1, it sends out triglycerides into the bloodstream. But remember what insulin does, okay? I'm going to bring this fat, okay? I'm going to bring it with me here for a second. I'm just going to show you a little bit of physiology, okay? See this? That's 5 pounds. You get it? See that? 5 pounds of fat. Okay, now listen. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. So when your liver gets full of high fructose corn syrup that is converted immediately to glycogen, and one way that your liver tries to empty itself is by sending those fats from high fructose corn syrup into the bloodstream, one. But here's what insulin does. Insulin will make room for that sugar by increasing the visceral fat, not only in the liver, but around the liver, especially around the belly. And then into the hips. And then into your sides and whatever. You see, insulin has to take high fructose corn syrup. It cannot leave it in your bloodstream. It can't leave it there. So it parks it in the liver, but when the liver is full, it can't park it anymore. The Costco parking lot is full. So now insulin, the traffic cop, has to send that sugar somewhere else. And it has the amazing ability to make fat cells. So why do you think the world has changed, especially in North America? Everybody's so big. Why do you see so much obesity? Because the liver's got to make this from that sugar. Your insulin has to make it. It has to store it. It can only send so many triglycerides out your liver. It only has the ability to make. So then your insulin, it continues to make fat cells. Oh, Dr. Martin, I'm skinny. That don't make you healthy, by the way. You can be skinny and very unhealthy. I've seen that hundreds of thousands of times in my 46 years. People that were tiny, they didn't make a lot of extra fat, but you know what they had? They had a fatty liver nonetheless. But if you want to know why we see so much obesity today, and guys, I don't want to get political. And I get it. I feel sorry. I mean it. For the African Americans in the United States. Okay, they've had it tough. I get it. But their biggest problem isn't racism. It isn't. It's sugar. Because they're so unhealthy. Look at in COVID. It happened to them more than anybody else in the population. They have more diabetes than any other, per capita in the United States. It's terrible. It's their health I'm worried about. It's their health. I mean it. They've got a loaded gun to their head. And not from the police. As much as from the sugar that they're consuming. And they don't realize it. I don't know. I'm not saying nobody does. All I'm saying is, guys, that's a major problem. We're going to go bankrupt in North America. We're gonna go bankrupt just trying to treat sick people. That's what I am predicting. Because we're not talking about it. We're not talking about, let's change this. Just like there was a huge, like I said, just like there was a huge, huge push to get people to stop smoking. It made a difference. You know, I know people still smoke today, but it's not like it used to be. That was a good thing. We stopped. It really helped. But now the new smoking is sugar, and it's not just sugar. It's high fructose corn syrup. Put your hand up. You know how I say, Dr. Martin, put your hand up and say, my name is Tony, and I'm a carboholic. Right? You could get almost every kid in society today to put their hand up and say, my name is Tony, and I'm a fructoholism. I'm a fructoholic. And they don't even know it. They don't even know it. And when you have that can of Pepsi with 14 teaspoons of high fructose corn syrup, you have no idea what you're doing to yourself. And when you eat that ketchup, and when you have relish and the fixings and the crackers and the bread and the pizza, they're adding high fructose corn syrup unless you make it yourself. It's the sugar of choice for the food industry. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so tomorrow, 8:30, I'm back, Lord willing, at 10 tomorrow on Zoom. Tony Jr. and I, Brandy as our host, are going to do a live again tomorrow morning at 10. Okay? Seems to be quite popular, so we're doing it. How long? I don't know. I'm not the boss. I just do what I'm told. So tomorrow, if you can come on Zoom at 10 o'clock live, ask questions. Friday, if there's enough question and answer. I got seven studies I didn't even talk to you about. I'll do it tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. I just get excited, guys. I get excited. Okay? I get excited. I can't help myself. I'm trying to help prevent. Okay? So tomorrow, 10 o'clock, 8:30 our usual for the live. 10 o'clock on Zoom. We'll send you out an invitation on how to come on. And you can ask your questions live. Okay? So, good to talk to you this morning. What do I always say leaving? I love you. I do, because you're smart. You are very smart. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.